NVIDIA RTX 5090. It is the latest entry in a series that holds a near monopoly in the global market for high-performance GPUs. But powering this massive card is a tiny rectangular wafer of silicon hidden deep inside. This component is officially called the GB202 GPU, and it represents one of the most complex engineering challenges in the history of semiconductor manufacturing. In this video, we are going to try to understand how this is made, and how just on this one die which measures just 750 square millimeters in size, the manufacturing process must successfully place 92.2 billion individual transistors. It seems like a physical impossibility to pack that much computing power into such a confined space. So to understand how we get there, we first have to understand the architecture that dictates where every single one of those billions of switches belongs. The latest NVIDIA GPUs use the Blackwell architecture, and before the factories can start their work, the engineers must first lay out the logic of the chip by deciding how to organize the massive sea of transistors. When engineers sit down to design a chip of this magnitude, they cannot possibly place 92 billion transistors one by one. Instead, they group these tiny switches into larger functional blocks, the most important of which is called the Streaming Multiprocessor, or simply the SM. You can think of each SM as a self-contained processing engine that holds a tightly packed array of 128 CUDA cores to handle the heavy computational lifting. But to handle the specific demands of modern computing, they have also integrated the latest evolution of their specialized hardware, the fourth generation of RT cores, which are dictated solely to the calculations of tracing light rays, and the fifth generation tensor cores, which are built to accelerate the complex patterns of artificial intelligence. For the RTX 5090, the design requires us to take this complex block and replicate it across the silicon landscape 170 times. This results in a massive grid of 21,760 individual cores that must all operate in perfect synchronization, creating an architectural map that guides the machines in the next step. If you enjoy videos on bug, you're likely a visual learner. Videos like this are great for visual learning. To truly master complex topics, however, nothing beats active engagement. And that's where Brilliant, the sponsor of this video, comes in. Brilliant replaces lectures with interactive visual challenges. It forces you to actually engage with the concepts, manipulating the variables and seeing the result. It wires the logic into your brain by making you learn by doing. It starts with a few simple questions to gauge your level. From there, it creates a course personalized to your specific needs. It guides you from first principles, stacking ideas from the bottom up to build a solid foundation. As you move through the chapters, it gets progressively advanced. But by the time you reach the really complex topics, you're solving them easily because you built the intuition yourself, step by step. Brilliant simplifies concepts in a way no other format can. Combine that with the daily streaks and gamification, and you get a tool that actually gives you a hit of dopamine when you solve a hard problem. But honestly, active learning is one of those things you can't fully appreciate just by hearing me talk about it. You really have to try it yourself to see the difference. So go to brilliant.org/bug or scan the QR code. You'll get a free 30-day trial, and my viewers also get a 20% off the annual premium subscription. Thank you to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. Once the engineers at NVIDIA finish the architecture, the design files are sent across the ocean to TSMC, the foundry responsible for manufacturing the chips. It is really important to understand that we do not build these chips by soldering tiny mechanical parts together. Instead, we create them by carving them out of a solid, perfect crystal of silicon using a technique called photolithography. To do this, the foundry uses massive machines that generate extreme ultraviolet light, or EUV, which is a type of light with a wavelength so incredibly short that it is invisible to the human eye. The process works like a very advanced stencil. The machine projects the pattern of the chip onto a silicon wafer that has been coated with a special light-sensitive chemical. Wherever this invisible light hits the surface, the chemical structure changes, allowing the engineers to wash away the soft parts and chemically etch deep into the silicon, leaving behind only microscopic pathways that the electricity will eventually follow. At this level of magnification, the silicon must be of the absolute highest purity, because even a single atom out of place can block the flow of electricity and ruin the entire processor. The engineers must also fight against the laws of physics, because when you pack switches this closely together, the heat becomes dangerously concentrated, and the electricity constantly tries to leak out across the barriers where it does not belong. After the etching is complete and the wafers are sliced into individual squares, we are immediately faced with a common limitation of manufacturing. Achieving perfection in something like this is nearly impossible. If you look at the physical silicon of the GB202 chip under a microscope, you will see that the machines actually carved a total of 192 streaming multiprocessors onto the die. However, the RTX 5090 that eventually reaches the consumer is configured to use only 170 of them. And this is a deliberate engineering choice designed to solve the problem of manufacturing defects. Because the transistors are so incredibly small, even a microscopic speck of dust or a tiny fluctuation in temperature during the etching process can ruin a specific core, rendering it useless. Rather than throwing the entire expensive chip into the trash because of one small flaw, the engineers test every single sector of the silicon and simply turn off the parts that do not meet their strict standards. This process allows them to harvest the maximum number of usable chips from each wafer, ensuring that the final product is perfectly stable and reliable. Once the silicon is harvested, it must be mounted onto a physical platform that can support its immense requirements. And for the RTX 5090, this meant completely rethinking the traditional circuit board. NVIDIA engineered an unorthodox 3-piece printed circuit board, or PCB, a modular design that physically splits the board into sections to optimize signal integrity and allow air to flow through the card more effectively. The engineers surrounded the central processor with 32 gigabytes of the new GDDR7 memory, and they linked these modules to the GPU using a massive 512-bit bus interface. The wide data path is critical because it allows information to stream into the cores at speeds capable of saturating the bandwidth, ensuring that thousands of processing units are never left idling while waiting for data. To supply the energy required for these calculations, the main board utilizes a robust 30-phase voltage regulation module, which is responsible for taking the raw power from your wall and converting it into a stable, clean current to feed the card's 575-watt total graphics power rating. However, pushing that much electrical energy through such a dense cluster of transistors generates a tremendous amount of heat. To keep the silicon from reaching its thermal limit, the card utilizes a sophisticated cooling solution featuring a 3D vapor chamber that makes direct contact with the GPU die and the memory modules. This chamber efficiently transfers the thermal energy into a large stack of aluminum fins, where a dual axial flow-through fan system pulls cool air directly through the body of the card, expelling the waste heat out of the back of the chassis.